Hey, so welcome back to the podcast here with Insecure Overachiever with your host Jason Suarez and our guest of today, Memo.
Yo,
How are you
yo.
doing, Memo?
I'm good. I'm good. Probably need more coffee, but so far so good.
We have an espresso machine if you need.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll bring it out of the storage, like it's covered in webs. Like here we go, because I don't make coffee myself.
He knows that I enjoy double espressos, and he instead chose to make me filtered coffee, which is, yeah, something.
Well, mistakes, learning. That's part of the whole process of doing this. It's a mistake I'll learn from.
It hits the spot, G. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. All right. So one of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation with you, we've had many outside, but specifically on the podcast, is that this podcast we deal with topics about building something, building a life that we want to live, and how to sort of build something from nothing, and like that journey of entrepreneurship and everything in between. And I know that you've kind of had your own journey with that. So I wanted to go through a couple things, especially now at the beginning. What was your journey at the beginning like? But first, I wanted to ask you, who are you? More than what you do. We can get into that after, but just off the start, who are you and how would you describe yourself?
Yeah. To put it simply, like I don't have any impressive answers for that, but I am
Okay.
a son of God, and I guess I can go into why I think I'm here, which is to serve God and to serve the people of God.
Okay.
So my siblings in Christ, and to enjoy some donuts.
Okay.
Yeah,
Additional drop.
yeah, just little sprinkles of spices, you know.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you do as a supplement to that?
I don't know if I can even put like a label. Like the only label I can put on it is like developer. But I've dabbled in so many things. I've done development for the last, I want to say like 10 years. And between working in startups, working in corporations, working in my own startups, I dabbled in like application development. I dabbled in full stack development in the web. I've dabbled in blockchain development, VR, and yeah, I learned a lot of things, a lot of nerdy stuff, you know. But mostly it, like the sum of most of my experience and why I want to share what I want to share today is in. I mean, I don't know if people watching this are like thinking
It
about
doesn't matter
going
what people are watching.
to
This is a conversation between you and me.
yeah, like I don't know if people watching this are thinking about like going to uni for like comp sci or computer science or engineering. But if I can sum up my last 10 years of experience, I can just say confidently that you guys don't need to go to college if you want to dabble in programming. You
Okay.
learn more about programming, running your own startup, than working in a corporation with suits and ties.
Some knowledge from skin in the game in there, I see.
Yeah.
No, okay, awesome. So yeah, that's perfect because then I wanted to ask you about that startup and the startups that you've done early on in your, let's say, career. What was one of the first ones that you engaged in?
So hang on a second. We talk about startup that I ran the show in,
It
or
doesn't matter that you were involved in.
the first
What was
company.
important in your process?
The first company I worked at was a startup. It's called Beaky.
What's that?
Yeah, it's a funny journey. I don't know if Rob Gold, the CEO, is watching this, but shout out to Rob Gold, man. He taught me a lot of things.
Okay.
It was a battery key. That's what the B stands for.
Okay.
You can connect the Bluetooth to your app, and you can get a feedback on the battery life of your battery key and optimal charging times. And it was fun. It was not paid. I kind of like hustled my way in just to, make my CV look a little bit impressive. And yeah, it was fun. Lasted maybe like a year. I don't know how I did that without any pay, but I wasn't paying rent by then,
Yeah.
daddy's money.
Yeah.
But it was great experience. Don't get me wrong. It was great experience. It was my first time working in an agile environment and working with the CEO, working with the CTO, working with investors. I don't know why they didn't pay me, but it's fine.
Little startup.
Yeah. Just like having these like conversations with investors and awkwardly not asking about my paycheck, but it is what it is. But it was super interesting. It was more like the experience was great in terms of development and in terms of learning how to make this app. But what I learned a lot was the environment I was working at,
Okay.
which was an open space accelerator. I don't know if you
No, I
heard
don't
of
know what that is.
accelerator. So in the world of startups, there's an incubator and an accelerator.
Okay.
An incubator, if you have an idea and you want to incubate this idea in a safe space where you don't have to pay rent, but in return, if your product makes certain developments and in terms of revenue, you give them a share of the revenue. An accelerator is when you have the product is already proven, there's a market and everything, and you like they're both basically the same thing, but you have more leverage if you're in the accelerator.
Right.
So yeah, it was both an incubator and an accelerator. It was funded by my university, and that environment was awesome. Like I would just like sneak into the boardroom and act like I'm like part of the board of people who are working in this accelerator, and I would always eavesdrop on these conversations, you know, investors coming in to like inject like millions of dollars and how the CEO and the investors are talking to each other, and then the conversation between different CEOs and CTOs of different companies. And yeah, it was just a cool environment to kind of like absorb all of that like knowledge and experience, right? But yeah, just lasted 1 year.
But you had to make a process of application to be a part of that, or what was the
Ah,
situation?
dude, it was like
Was this part of your degree?
no. A friend of a friend, I think, mentioned it
Okay.
and said like, hey, you should check. It's called District 3
Okay.
in Montreal. And he kind of said like, yo, you should check this place out if you want like to see companies that are hiring. And there was actually like an official tour kind of deal. And they were just like circling around and like people are introducing themselves like CEOs and saying like, hey, we do this, we do that.
Okay. Interesting.
And Rob Gold, the CEO of this company, was super cool, and I got a good vibe from him. And I was just like, yo, I can do X, Y, and Z. He's like, cool, we need X, Y, and Z. He's like, cool. And yeah, we hooked it up since then, man.
Okay. Interesting. And you finished that after a year, and what did you jump into next? What did you do after that?
That's 2015, 2016. What did I jump through from 2016? I worked. Oh yeah, I worked in this is a fun little application we did. Also a startup, but like funded, and I got paid. It was a car dealership, no, a car showroom. Hang on a second, let me try to remember. It was
Car showroom dealership.
all the above. Hang on a second. It was a car bidding yeah, it was a car bidding platform. Autolane. There we go. That's the name. The name is Autolane. And basically, like there was like a market gap at that time, and I think it's already like
Filled.
I think it's doing super well right now. But like if you wanted to buy a car, to bid on a car, you had to like go to a showroom, and there's a guy you had to hire. It's like going for 50, going for 60, whatever, all that noise. And you had to incubate a lot of things to allow for the sales of the sale of the car, right? And that kind of took away from your expenses and revenue. And this company just like did everything on the app. You don't need the guy who, you know, sells to people and like going for 50, going once, going twice. You uploaded all the documents for the car itself, like the insurance and everything, and you just click for your car to start getting bid on,
Okay.
and people bid on your car,
Yeah.
and you sell your car, and
But it's for it's secondhand cars.
Yeah.
Or was it first hand too?
I think we had Jeep on there. I don't remember, but I do remember there were like showrooms that put their cars on the thing. I think it was Jeep.
Was that for advertisement or was that actually for sales? Because if
For
they have
sales.
established price, then what would be the point of doing it in that format?
I don't know. It was 10 years ago, man.
Okay, I'm just asking.
But I do remember there was independent dealerships, there was official dealerships, and there was regular people
Okay.
like selling their stuff.
Okay. Interesting.
I would imagine that those dealerships kind of went on the app because they didn't want to go through all the process of like the analog way of like selling things, and like they wanted to keep most of their money. So they went through the app.
Okay, so there were benefits for them.
Yeah. I would imagine.
Do you know what the benefits are, or is that
I don't. Man, it's been 10 years.
I know, I know, but like I'm asking for a reason.
I barely know what I had for coffee for breakfast yesterday. You know.
Fair enough. And because I kind of wanted to get to the startup that you did on your own, which was the app that you had developed with some friends, right? But it's funny because through this conversation, I've also learned things that I didn't know about you. So I'm curious, like, okay, let's get there, but what else do I not know before that?
Dabbled in video game development before I did the startup thing. This is before I graduated from university. Like I was already doing these internships and stuff, but game development was awesome. That was the funnest part of my last 10 years, I'm not gonna lie. And it was a place where I could practice, what's the word? Leadership in video game development. I don't know why I did this, but yeah.
That's fine.
But we had a class, advanced game development, and we had to come up with the design. We had to assign, roles for team members. And it was awesome because I kind of came up with the whole design on my own, and I presented it to the team and they loved it. And I didn't really say you do this and you do that, but I kind of hinted that you should do this and you should do that, a little bit less direct, but
Yeah.
It was awesome. We got amazing grades on that class, and it was like you play games.
Very few.
Very few. It's like third person. You know what third person is? So it was like a third person puzzle shooter.
A puzzle shooter?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it's strange, but it works. Like you had different colored tiles on the floor.
Okay.
And you had to hack the mainframe computer. You're like a virus that is supposed to like hack the computer.
Right.
And you have guards that are like roaming. So if you're on the red tile, you can camouflage color red and they don't see you anymore.
Right.
But there's like a 5-second cooldown, right? So like 5 seconds of camouflaging and then the people can see you.
Right.
But we and this is where the level designer on the team kind of helped out, Patrick, really cool guy. Because it became super difficult, like you had 5 seconds before people could spot you, he started adding these cover-based mechanics where you played Tomb Raider, I think, or Uncharted, or do you know what cover mechanics are? It's like
No.
It's like you crouch and there's like something to like kind of hide you.
Okay, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So he added those elements so that if you run out of like camouflage power, you can still kind of like crouch around and stuff and kind of strategize when to use the camouflage, when to crouch, when to shoot. The shooting part is very interesting. You didn't really it wasn't like a machine gun.
Yeah.
It was one shot every 7 seconds. And the shot stuns the computer, but it doesn't kill the computer. Right?
Okay, interesting.
The enemy, rather, not the computer.
I'm trying to picture it in my head.
I'll send you a video. It's really cool. It's called
Is it still
Reboot.
online? Like in terms of is it still running online? And
No, but it's on
are dead.
YouTube.
Okay.
It's called Reboot. Really cool game.
Yeah, send it to me and then I can even attach it to the video
Yeah.
for checking out.
Download my game, guys.
If it's not running anymore, it's not going to work. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. But then afterwards, I graduated uni in 2017, 2018. I think it was 2018. And I was working in a company before I graduated. I started working in a company called Astus Media. Super cool experience. Didn't last really long. I'm very bad with authority, man. Like, I got fired from that job, but like,
Aren't all entrepreneurs a little bit too stubborn?
yeah, yeah,
Let's just be honest.
yeah. I was a little bit. I was questioning the authority a little bit too much, and I think I got fired from that. They never told me why. My performance was awesome. People loved me on the team, but they just didn't like my attitude, I guess.
Okay.
I don't blame them. But it was a cool company, man. It's just trying to articulate it. Do you know when you watch the news, you get like stock tickers, you get data.
Yeah.
So they do the studio work where they like kind of showcase that data. That data is all real time. Like anytime you watch ABC News, you see the polls and the graphs and everything. That's all real time. That's not like they capture it once and they put it there. It's all working in real time. So we did the studio work for those graphics, and we also did the data provisioning.
Okay, but what do you do, man?
I did
wanted
the
to know
front
what you
end.
did.
I did the front end segment of the funnel. So before the data entered the studio graphics, I did the front end segment.
Okay.
Meaning I spoke to the APIs. In nerdy talk, that means like I connected to the data centers to retrieve all of that information. So for ABC News, I didn't work on the ABC News thing actually, but I worked mostly on FIFA because we were doing FIFA 2018 actually.
Wow.
So I forget what the services are called, but like there were live services to retrieve real-time data coming straight from the matches. And I specifically worked on shot charts. So
Shot charts?
yes,
For the like goals and
exactly. So like when the goal, even just like the regular shot. So like you can flip through the matches, and anytime there's like a shot or there's a goal, it kind of records it, and it records the angle of the shot and where it went. And there's like a top-down view. You probably seen the top-down view one too many times of like who passed to who's who,
Right.
and the angle of the shot that went in to the goal. And then there's a front view of like
yeah, the parts of the goal that the ball went in direction.
exactly and where it landed.
Okay.
And so my part of the puzzle was just like testing that data to see if it works. And then the studio kind of took that data and like made it beautiful and stuff so that I don't remember who we were contracted by. I don't know if it was like Fox Sports or something, but it was pretty interesting how that like process worked. But didn't last long, man. I was a terrible employee. Yeah.
Okay. And then what came next after that?
The startup.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about that because you showed me the app itself, but I wanted you to explain a little bit of the app, what you guys did. But what I want to know with these questions is more like, what did you do? What was your experience with that? And like, how did you grow as a person with that, etc. And that's the part that really is interesting, even to me and probably to the audience as well.
Yeah. So the app was.
Why did you start it in the first place? Let's just start there. Why did you start it in the first place?
It wasn't me. It was this crazy guy. I'm going to send him this podcast. He's still my homie till this day. My friend Jossie.
Okay.
And he kind of came up with this idea when he went to LA and he wanted to do stuff and he didn't know what to do. And he checked Google and he was like, this sucks. Like, I don't like these bars. I don't like these clubs. This is not my style of music. It's not my style of bar. And I want to know mostly what my friends are up to. But for me to just message my friends and go on Facebook and do this, it just seemed like a lot of work.
Yeah.
So he was just like, why isn't there a map-based application where I can see what my friends are up to and see their itineraries and connect with them and kind of message them straight from the application instead of like flipping through who's here, who's there, this guy traveled, this guy stayed, whatever. So essentially we kind of culminated that idea into if I'm gonna say like a pitch, it's like an experience-based application to connect with your friends and have enjoy better nights out. That was like the pitch.
Okay.
They brought me in. He brought me in through a friend named Brandon, really cool guy. I hope these assholes visit Portugal because they've been talking about it for so long, but they never visited. I met Brandon in a party, and he was already scouting for a developer. And we kind of just like had this conversation and smoking a lot of weed and just talking about this thing. And I was just like, yeah, cool. This sounds cool. Let me meet the guy, you know? And then we meet Jossie, and he was just this like crazy dude, drove a BMW, like classic douchebag-ish. No, I'm kidding. He's a great guy. And he was charming, man. He was an awesome guy, and he knew how to talk to people. He knew how to sell. He was a great salesman. He was selling wood at the time, still selling wood to this day, actually. Making a ton of money selling wood, actually.
So like selling the stranger stuff is what makes you.
Dog. He worked in Ontario. This is in Montreal. He worked in Ontario. Ontario is like a little bit west of Montreal, of Quebec, my province.
Yeah.
And he was selling to like South Carolina, North Carolina, like all sorts of wood, bro. Like Purple Heart. It's just like, I've never heard of it before, but like all these crazy mahogany and like black oak and all of this like crazy stuff. So he was a very interesting fellow. He took us out to a club. We went out, we sat down, like he was pretty well off, let's just say that. And I liked him, man. I liked the vibe. I liked him. A lot of people told me like this is a red flag, so to speak, because he seems very salesy. He seems very like whatever. But it's mostly people, man, that like, I mean, in hindsight, like, sure, but I'm not gonna waste the experiences because like somebody's just gonna be like I'm just scared or I doubt it because somebody seems a little bit too salesy. You know, it seems like a great experience. The equity percentage was awesome. And I wasn't paid or anything, but I was down for the experience. So I agreed to it. And I was the CTO of the company, chief technological officer. So I ran the whole show when it came to the engineering, right? So I did the front-end aspect. We built a web app. We built an iOS application. We built the back end, and we built the middleware that kind of married all of that together. So like married the data from here to data from there and kind of compiled it all together.
Yeah.
And we worked on AWS. That is one experience that I never learned before, which was awesome to learn. AWS is Amazon Web Services. So
I was like, well, what does that have to do with your app? When you said that, I was like, why is that relevant? Because I know what AWS is. And I was like, huh?
Yeah.
How's that involved with this project?
Yeah. So people think that like Amazon makes most of its money through like, you know, shopping and whatever, but actually it's through their server provisioning. So you have 6 different regions around the world where Amazon has a great, has a foothold in, and you can connect to these 6 regions and to their servers. And their servers have complete different like craziest services, right? So what we worked on with AWS is something called load balancing. Meaning, if I am running an application and I'm expecting 50,000 users on the first 2 months, how am I load balancing the traffic?
Okay.
And those are questions that you have to ask yourself when you run a company, when you run like product, right? Because even if your product works locally and you're, you know, the CEO and different people are using it, people are testing it, and it runs great. The real question is, what is the stress test is going to look like? Because if 100,000 people like use your app and it crashes, well, you're fucked, right? So You have to run these scenarios and see how they kind of hold up through these different scenarios. So we worked with multiple services to kind of stress test the application on the back end. And that was a lot of, like, I never learned any of this before. I learned all of this in the company. And it was a heck lot of experience, man. It was awesome. Yeah, but mostly from the soft skills side, I learned a lot from Jossie that how you present things as an entrepreneur makes or breaks the perception. Right. And people like me coming into that world, like, I always thought that was inauthentic in a sense where, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, this is not the reality of the situation, because why are we saying this when this and this and this is happening? But he presented it in a different light where, especially if you're like demonstrating a demo to a client, for example, you don't want to say what's wrong with the application. You don't want to say the little nuances here and there. The client doesn't even want to hear it, right? The client wants to hear that this is good, this is working, right? And your job is to under promise with the things that do work, but then eventually over deliver, right? And kind of like that is something I learned with Lono. Lono's the application. I'll get to the name. I'll get to the name later. Where we focus on strengths, right? Like we didn't mention. I learned to never mention the weaknesses in these scenarios, because who the hell cares about these weaknesses? You are supposed to deal with these weaknesses, even if you not mentioning them feels inauthentic. It's your job to deal with them. So it was my job as CTO to know what these weaknesses are, to deal with them, and to shut up about it, right? Like to not talk about it too much and just focus on what works in the application. Yeah.
Do you think that applies to everything as an entrepreneur? Do you think that applies to everything? Like, for example, even with my podcast, like, should I just never talk about the different... Well, I don't, but like, funny enough, when you were mentioning that, I was like, interesting. It's not about sales, but it's also about presenting it in a good way. Does that go for everything in entrepreneurship? Like so just hiding all the bad stuff and dealing with it on your own?
It depends on how you look at it, man. If your job is to kind of like coach people, or you're talking to people and you're teaching them stuff, then yeah, be a little bit authentic about like your shortcomings and the things that rattle you, I guess, in that degree. But when it comes to product and selling and, you know, making sure that you're testing, you're testing market compatibility, you don't want to talk about this stuff, because the goal is to assess whether people actually want this, right? And to present these strengths and to see whether people want this. And once you confirm that people do want this, then you take all of this weakness shit, excuse my language, but then you deal with that shit. There's an interesting company that, I forget the name, I'll send you the name of this company, but they did like AI note-taking, right?
Yeah.
And this was 2019, dog. Like this was way before 3 years before ChatGPT.
Right.
Bro, the first year for these guys, there was no product, there's no AI. These guys were going to meetings without a profile picture and without a microphone, and it says like AI note taker, but it's not. It's just two humans, right? And they were taking notes. They were physically taking notes.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah. So they kind of lied about it,
yeah.
But they did a great job taking these notes, and they would send these notes in a PDF, nicely formatted PDF, 15 minutes after the call. And the guy said, like, our job wasn't to get the product off the ground right away. Our job at that moment was to survive. Like, we wanted to pay rent, and we had no other option except to say that we have the product, deliver on the product, but not say what the what the product was actually doing, which is two humans taking down notes, as funny as it sounds. So yeah, it's really, it depends on who you're talking to in the end. But from a product-based perspective, people just want results. Nobody wants to know what's happening. If there's a monkey crunching data or whatever, it doesn't matter to them.
True. Okay, interesting. Also, one other thing, I know that we want to get to the Lono startup, but I was just thinking, you talked a little bit about testing there. And I know this is a bit selfish because I'm asking for my personal information, but like,
pay me $20.
What? Okay. How do I phrase it? Like, do you think from your experience, for example, that testing the products or the company you're trying to build is 100% necessary before putting in the work to building it? And like, what degree are we talking about? Because I'll just say it better so you understand where I'm coming from. For example, I have wanted to start something. And for example, even in Tim Ferriss's book, like the 4-Hour Workweek, he talks about a lot of methods to like just do like a 1-page website and test for reviews and like people's interactions with it, blah, 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 blah. And of course it costs some money to do that, right? And so sometimes I think like, oh, that's the way to do it. My problem though, this is me saying my problems, right? Is like, I often take way too much time like calculating whether something is worth it or not worth it. Even with the podcast, is this worth it? Is it going to be fruitful? Is it going to make sense to do? Are people going to want to come on? Blah, 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 blah. And like, I just had to say at some point, I'm going to do it, you know, and like, you deal with the shit when it pops up, you know what I mean?
100%.
So for example, if I want to build something, a website that does sales or like, for example, e-commerce, for example, that we can talk about that. To what extent, how much work do I put into to test it? Is it worth it? Or should I, due to my fact of overcalculation and sometimes hesitation as a result, should I just go a little bit into it? And what does that imply? Do I actually buy some of the products and try to sell it? But that takes financial investment, you know what I mean? Or do I just do what, you know, sometimes Tim Ferriss did? Like just put the website with the products and see if people click and pay for ads to see people click.
Right.
I don't know if you have a perspective on that.
Yeah, so I don't want to sound absolutist, but...
You can. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, but like people have different ways of doing things like... Yeah, but specifically just with entrepreneurship, man, and presenting a product, you don't need to make it perfect. You need to be okay with uncertainty, and you need to be okay with your insecurities, especially regarding the product. And I can refer to a quote said by, I think the chief of sales at Facebook. I don't remember her name. And an example, actually, a real life example. But this lady said, if you're not embarrassed by your first product, you launch too late. So
I've heard that one.
You heard that one before, eh? And then the second one is a real life example where they took two people in a pottery making class, and one group was like two groups of people. One group was tasked with making the perfect pot. You know, take your time, but in 1 hour we just need one pot. Take your time, do what you need to do the engineering, whatever design behind it and all that noise, but give us a pot by the end. The second group was tasked with creating as many pots as possible, right? Guess who had the better looking pot in the end?
One who did more efficient.
I've
heard of the quote too, so I know where it's going.
Yeah, it's an actual real life example.
Sure, but how does that apply to a situation like that, for example?
Which situation?
For example, my situation, because I can't I can create like X amount of business ideas. The time investment is also massive.
Right. So with regards to you, it wouldn't serve you. I would say in regards to the podcast that you're providing, that's a product in the end, right? Like that's what people are watching.
No, not a podcast, a business.
The business. Oh, it's like a whole different thing.
Yeah, different thing. So a news thing.
Yeah, put it out there, bro. Like there's no need for you to keep like asking yourself these questions and like, do people want this? Do people not want this? Da, da, da. You put it out there. You talk to people about it. I guess you can use a little bit of safety net of saying like maybe opening up to your family or people who are a little bit more honest with you, people you meet in a coffee shop or whatever, so that the safety net is, you're not too exposed, but you're just asking people questions about this product. But I would say, like, if you take too long taking your time and for this, for whatever you're providing, you are practicing the muscle of like, I want to call it insecurity, but what it ends up doing is it slows you down incrementally.
Yeah.
So the more time you are using this muscle in these situations, the more time you're going to, I don't want to say waste, but the opportunity of time gone increases. And then let's say you do launch a product and it is successful and all of that stuff and it worked out in the end. Well, there may come a situation where you need to make a decision. You need to make a decision quick. And because you've been practicing this muscle of like taking your time, making sure everything is okay, it may prove dramatically bad in those situations. Maybe not dramatically bad, but
It can be costly.
yeah, like it just, you are teaching yourself to not act quick, right? And
Yeah, it's teaching hesitance in some sort of way.
yeah,
Yeah.
to some degree, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't understand that it was like about
Yeah,
a business. I thought it was
no.
mostly about the podcast.
No. Yeah, that's another thing. But yeah, okay. So what you were talking about with the product that you were developing was Lana, right?
Yeah. Lono.
My bad.
Funny name. Had double entendre meanings. I didn't come up with the name. The name was already set before I joined. But to kind of like, this is before I found Jesus, ladies and gentlemen, but Lono was like a god, and it was a god of like festivities and peace and provisioning and sex and all of that stuff. And the mascot was a tiki, like a tiki mask. And that was representative of this god. So it was kind of like idolatry. We did some weird shit there, man. Like we had this funny ass dance we would do in clubs, and everybody would ask us about this dance. It was fucking weird, man. Excuse my language. But I don't want to demonstrate it right now, but like it was like a rhythmic, like take off the mask, put it on somebody else, and take it off and put it back. So we were just like, but it was a hit. Like people were like copying us. People were like trying to. I have to mention that one of our partners, his name's Juan, and he was a social media like superstar. He had like lots of followers and connected with crazy people and stuff. So he knew how to make things go viral, so to speak.
Yeah.
But then on the second meaning was locals only, no outsiders.
Right.
Which means if you open this app, even if you're in Barcelona, for example, you never lived in Barcelona before, then you instantly become a local because now you know what the locals know. That was the idea. But
Okay.
yeah.
Fair. Interesting. Awesome. So one of the questions I have here pre-planned, because not all my questions are planned, was what did all that do for you, and what does now being an entrepreneur mean for you?
It's an interesting question. One thing it did teach me for sure, for better, for worse, is to stand my ground. Even when shit is hitting the fan, just like keep my foot on the ground, like don't let up. Which can be bad in certain situations where you gotta call it quits. But also keeping your foot on the ground, at least in the context of this company, it taught me a whole lot. Gave me resilience that I didn't know I had before. it gave me this, I don't want to call it stubbornness, but like everyone is just like throwing these opinions at you, like get the fuck out, the ship is burning, da da da, and you're just like, some days you get rattled, sure, but you just learn to, as much as you can, be a rock in these situations. And there are situations where that experience, where people are like shouting shit at you, like my mom, my brother, my father, my cousins, everybody's like, get the fuck out of here. And me keeping my ground, that muscle I kind of practiced helped in situations in the future, current life situations.
So what do you think important attributes for an entrepreneur are?
Yeah,
Some of the ones that you already named there, of course.
you have to be like, it taught me to have blind faith in what I'm doing, whatever it is. Even though right now with my identity in Jesus, like it's not something I should depend on. Call it stubborn affliction, where like I don't move, man. Like if I think this is a good idea, people can throw whatever they want in front of my face, but to me, it's a great idea. And you have to have a level of delusionment. Actually, no, you have to have a healthy amount. Not even, you have
It's
to
not
be.
unhealthy.
You
It's
have
not healthy at all. That's
no,
what I'm
you
saying.
have to be unhealthily delusional, bro, because this idea you're thinking about in your head, and you're like, bro, this is like the greatest idea. Da, 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 da. 1 out of 100 people will understand it, even if you articulate it to the most eloquent Shakespearean way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
99% of people are gonna think you're crazy.
Yeah.
Because even if they're entrepreneurs, bro, because people think like, oh, you're not an entrepreneur, you don't get it, bro. Other entrepreneurs would probably think you're stupid or crazy or what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah.
So you have to be comfortable with that, man. Like you got to be comfortable. You're not looking for the claps or whatever. Like, oh, that's a great idea. Whoa, amazing and stuff. You're not looking for that, bro. You're looking to hold your ground and to prove your idea and to obviously make the profit, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you gotta keep your frame strong, bro.
Yeah, it's one of the funniest things. You talk to people and you're like, oh, this would be nice. And one of the things I've learned is like, really nobody cares and you just got to do it alone. Like, not in a bad way, because there's a bad way to look at that, which is like, oh, you're alone with everything. You got to figure it all yourself, which may be partly true, but it's from like a toxic way. But the truth is just like, dude, you're going to have to do it all yourself. And like, whether people think it's right or it makes sense to them, it makes sense to you.
100%.
And it might be somewhat delusional to other people, maybe even to yourself, but I don't think so. But you just got to do it,
Man, just like, I thought about something else while you were saying this. You're completely correct. And not only that, even if you get from people, they won't give a shit the next day.
Yeah.
Like nobody gives a shit, bro. Like people are too focused on their own lives. So yeah, like whatever you're trying to focus on, whether you're solving businesses problems or people's problems, that should be your focus. And not the clap or the lack of claps, right?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, 1%. All right. I had this question. I don't know why I had this written down from a previous conversation that we had. Maybe it could be misplaced, but I had this question in mind, which is, what have you learned about business, but more specifically choosing business partners?
Oof.
I think we had a conversation where you said something about that, and I think it was actually at the venue, and I think I
know what you're
I took
talking
out the
about.
PC and I wrote it down, so I'm going to ask him this when we have a chance.
Oh man.
If you don't want to share, if you don't want to say it, we can also move on because we've got plenty of time.
Yeah, without saying company or people or whatever names, you got to be careful who you pick. You want to pick people who don't give a shit about the claps or the lack of claps, who don't give a shit about the image. And I'm not talking about image of the product. I'm talking about the image of business, like actually running the show. Because different experiences in starting my own thing and working with other startups that I wasn't like running the show at, I find that there is sort of a common denominator in my experience.
Okay.
That there are people who are looking for look at us, we're entrepreneurs. Look at us, we're working. Look at us, we're doing this. And I'm not saying don't ever pick people like that, but try not to as much as you can, because they can offer like great skills and offer a lot of value for running your business, but you want to focus on people who don't give two shits about what people think of them and what they're doing in any given scenario. Like they're just gonna run with the show whenever, when they're set on the idea. Yeah, and hustlers, man, like fucking blood, like hounds who are looking for blood, bro. Like, not to sound too aggressive, but like you don't want people who are like passive, man. Like you want people like if they get shaken or rattled or whatever, how do they react? What does pressure do to them? Are they going to shrivel up and run away? Are they going to sit and cry in a corner? Which is okay sometimes as an entrepreneur. Like, please go cry in a corner if you need to.
Under the shower. Just showering, man.
Nobody can see it. Talk to a tree, maybe. I don't know, man. Like talk to God, but come back strong. Get up. You got to get up, man. Like that's one. You want to look for people who can get up, and to quote you, one of my friends who's an entrepreneur. It's not a direct quote, but he told me something very interesting. In Canada, America is different. The way investors and investment bankers work in America is completely different. But in Canada, one thing they look for is character. Like you may have amazing projections, may have a market fit, your product is awesome. How do you deal with shit hitting the fan? Can you get rattled? So you need to be okay with people asking you tough questions that are like, well, there's this company and that company and that company, they're already doing this, so why should I give a shit about this company, like what you're doing?
Yeah.
And that's just like scratching the surface, bro. You can break people's frame deeper than that, and you should be okay as an entrepreneur to have that frame broken, to learn from it, and to have other people who can get up after that and to learn and to strengthen, right? Not to run away from that.
Right. Now that you mentioned the difference, I'm curious, what is the way that investors and bankers in America invest or treat entrepreneurs? What do they look for? I'm curious.
Yeah, have you watched this movie Fire Festival?
No, I don't watch movies anymore, so I'm never going to watch it.
Good.
Good.
It's a documentary on this festival that happened in America. And it was one of many telltales of like different companies in America. But to put it this way, in Canada, if let's say a bank or a hedge fund, or not a hedge fund, a VC, a venture capitalist firm, if they get wind of an idea and somebody's looking for money, or somebody proved their product and is looking for acceleration funds or whatever, they will take their sweet time. They will take months before they even, sometimes years, man. Depending if it's like medical technology, they would take like maybe up to a year before they inject any sort of funds. America, they smell blood, they go for it. Less than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like 1 month is more than enough, Yeah. And this is why the 2008 crash happened, right? Like if you look at Canada, not much happened to Canada because they took their sweet time. When it came to like reviewing these like fucking products that banks are buying. But Americans, bro, they're like buying billions of dollars worth of like shit products without doing their research, and then crash and burn. So
it's also the reason to make a lot of money. It's risk and reward, right? If you want more rewards, you have to take more risk.
Yeah, but like
that's just the basic equation.
Would you be claro?
You can decide to what level. For example, you can say, well, Canada is perfectly fine, and I never lived in Canada, but my image of it is that people are okay there, like they're not. People are okay financially. Like it's not like you're living in Portugal. Like Portugal's much worse financially.
Yes.
Right. So what I'm saying is put it on a spectrum. Canada's high spectrum. Maybe it's not ideal, but
Probably not ideal.
No, it's not high spectrum.
No.
So what would you put above it?
I mean, I don't want to sound
I'm
too
saying life
socialist.
quality and money related things.
Yeah, it's just in the last 4 years with our best friend Trudeau, not to get into politics in this episode.
Sure.
He's shat on the, excuse my language, ladies and gentlemen, but he really shat on like food prices because he was spending a ton of money on bullshit. To give you an example, these cookies I used to buy all the time before I left Canada were like $1.50. Like for a pack of cookies. And the other day my friend posted a story and he had those cookies next to him and I saw the price and it was $7. This was 4 years. So like people's just like living wages have not increased and they are suffering big time with buying food.
I wasn't aware of that.
Huh?
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. And this is just the last 4 years. The last 4 years, it's been really bad, and people are leaving right now. But to kind of counter this whole America big risk.
I'm not saying I'm pro or against because I don't have an agenda on it. I'm just curious because also like something that I do think I need to improve on is risk taking.
Yeah.
It's even something that we talk about in the Skin in the Game.
But knowing the man you are.
Okay.
You're not gonna take big risk on shit, even if shit is gonna give you a lot of money because you know it's shit. Knowing the man you are.
Okay. I'm trying to understand what you mean by that.
This is what I mean.
You're saying if a bad opportunity presented or an ethical opportunity?
Ethical and a bad opportunity mixed together to look like a great opportunity when in fact it's
What's an example of that?
The 2008 financial crisis, man.
Okay, but you're saying the investing behind that was unethical.
It was unethical. It was short-sighted. It was stupid. And
what does unethical mean to you in investing?
Basically, in this sense, they were buying products called CDOs,
What are CDOs?
collateral debt obligation, aka runaway when you hear this product. But basically, it's a collection. Think of it like this, okay? Let's say did you watch The Big Short by any chance or no?
Yes, I was too young, but I didn't understand it.
You should watch it again.
Okay.
Fantastic film. But let's say this example comes straight from the movie.
Okay.
Let's say Selena Gomez is playing poker with Anthony Bourdain. Okay. And
Surprising.
she has she has a great hand. And she's like, I'm betting. Obviously, you put money on the table for this hand.
Yes.
So that is the what's the word?
The entry. You're talking about poker?
Yeah, that's the
bid.
That's the bid she's making. So that beginning bid, let's say it was like $1 million. Okay. She makes the bid. Now people are watching her play. One guy says, I bet you anything. I bet you 10 million she's gonna make this $1 million bet. And she's gonna win it. She's gonna win the pot. And then another guy says, I bet that his bet is going to work. And another guy says, I bet that his bet for her bet. So $1 million, okay, starts going back and back and back and back to hundreds of billions. So this hundreds of billions that were created out of thin air was all from one bet of Selena Gomez winning this hand, right?
Okay.
So if she loses this hand, hundreds of billions of dollars are gone. Right?
How does this imply to investing?
Okay,
so if the bid was money on a company, what kind of successive bids would be placed on that bid? That's what I'm trying to picture. I'm trying to understand.
So
because I understood the bubble, like in general, I've understood it, like more or less researched or thing. But I'm curious, like, what do you mean, like, with the investing part, like
the way it crashed is.
No, with the investing, what is the unethical part of the investing?
Yes. Just to give you, this was just a poker.
Maybe I'm being silly. Maybe I'm not making sense. But
No. You're
I
asking.
fully understand.
You're asking the right questions because the crisis happened from real estate, right?
Yes.
The bidding done by these hedge funds and these banks was mostly for something called tranches. Tranches are credit ratings, and let's say like hundreds of thousands of mortgages can go into the C rating, which is shit, can go into the B rating, which is okay, can go to the A rating, which is great, and can go to triple A rating. I think there's a triple A rating or something, right? What people was doing, this sounds good in like theory, right? Like this sounds great. This sounds like it's a provable method. What people ended up doing as they got greedier, the banks and the hedge funds got greedier, is they were slowly sneaking in shitty mortgages and taking all of these shitty mortgages and piling them on together and calling them an A rating. And the FCC, have you heard of the FCC, the Federal Trade Commission? The federal FTC, I don't remember.
I've heard of it.
But they give the ratings on the credits. And they were corrupted and bribed to give
a higher rating.
Give a higher rating on this bullshit.
So it was artificially creating value out of nowhere.
Exactly. And like, think about it this way. These mortgages were run by like drug dealer, like these mortgages were under the names of like drug dealers and like people who couldn't pay their mortgage at some point. And it only took like 30% or 40% default rate where they can't pay their mortgage for the entire market to crash, right? So obviously, like the big risks, big reward makes sense if you're reading skin in the game.
But for me, that isn't even big risk and big reward. That's just unethical.
Why is it unethical?
Well, maybe it's not. I don't know. But that has nothing to do with big risk and big reward.
You know what?
That's just corruption.
The American people took that risk because the investment bankers, remember skin in the game, right? People who were making these bets were not in any way getting shat on. There's only one guy who went to jail. Everybody else got rich, which makes no sense, bro.
I see.
You know, so the people who bore the brunt of that damage were the American working population. Yeah.
Okay, so back from the break, we got Memo some more coffee. Proper espresso this time.
Cheers.
All right. I don't know like how much you want to share, but I want to ask you a little bit if you wanted to talk about like your recent video game that you built. I was curious, like, you know, we can always do like passion projects and fun projects. Maybe you have bigger goals for it. I was curious, like, what was your thought process behind the creation?
Yeah.
And how was that process altogether?
Yeah. So regarding the game, it's a crazy journey of flowing in and out of it, and I've always wanted to be a game developer since I was a kid, before I even entered computer science or thought about computer science. Because I used to game a lot as a kid. I finished Mario before I could even walk, funny enough. And it was really frowned down upon in my family to like work on games and stuff. But I really believe like as an interactive media, combining it with just visuals and the score, the soundtrack and like the story, you can really change people's perceptions of life through video games. And by involving them in certain experiences. Obviously you can't really simulate reality as beautiful as it is right now. But you can really like
peak games that are pushing the limits.
Yeah, I mean,
Red Dead Redemption
with virtual reality, that's very true, eh? There's like 500,000 lines of dialogue in that game.
Yeah,
it's insane.
GTA 6 would be crazy.
What are we doing around here, Dutch?
I didn't play that game. I didn't have the ability to, but man,
it's a great game.
Yeah, but continue.
Yeah, so it's really, I don't know where to begin. I'm going to be very honest with you. I've been making games for the last 11 years. Most of them, if not all of them, are personal projects. I never really shipped a game. It was mostly like independent games or games in classrooms that I had to make for my grades. And I don't know if it's this thing that I need to wait for God's permission to go full time on it, because every single passion project I've worked on, and I've worked on the craziest passion projects when it comes to games, there always was this brick wall, and it wasn't like a regular brick wall that you had to use your like brain to like mash through, but it was mostly like money related, right? Like,
You didn't have a financial investment?
right. And the publishing aspect, and I can, like, I'm not saying I can't, I can go to these publishers and sell and try to sell the game as much as I could. But really the brick wall comes not from like financial, even though it was financial and I could have like kind of like navigated around it, it was mostly thinking about my future family, right? Like, if I'm focusing too hard right now on this publishing deals and stuff, how much can I really provide for my family in the future? Because these publishers will take like maybe 10%, they'll give me 10% or 50% of revenue, and I'm left squandering and using my passion to fuel, you know, helping my family out in the future, which to me didn't really make much sense, right? But I do enjoy it. I do love making games. I've been working on a game, kind of paused it like last month, but I've been working on a game for the last good part of a year. Virtual reality games. It's what I'm kind of like dabbling in right now. And yeah, I had to pause it, man. Like, I had to pause it and focus on obviously like making it better once I have more leeway to kind of crawl around in, but also to not rush it at all, and like really look at it as not as this like financial salvation for me and like provisioning, but rather like something to yeah, just like creatively dabble in as like something passionate, like something to be passionate about.
You don't think that's a push moment?
This a what?
A push moment.
No,
Why not?
because the push would be, even if the game is like noble in idea, it would be selfish to some degree. In a sense where selfish, where, because I'm 32 right now, right? And people, I guess age is just a number and whatever. Like, but I am thinking about finding a wife, having kids, and kind of like establishing a base foundation, safety net for my future family. And I don't know if games is the answer to that. I think it's something that scratches my itch for my creativity. And for me to push right now would be, I mean, there's a lot of aspects about it, but
I mean, if you want to work in the gaming industry, you could probably find a job, unless you want to maintain entrepreneurship.
nah, I don't want to work in the gaming industry as like a full-time job. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about like money and whatever, but I get paid significantly less than what I can get paid right now. And oh, there's a big gap, by the way, between Lono and right now. It's called blockchain development. And yeah, if any people watching this are interested in making a shit ton of money, yeah, just get into like blockchain development. Great salaries and stuff, but no, I've been too used to those salaries for me to kind of like pick up that kind of job in the gaming industry. So for me, what makes financial sense?
So that's a difficult question, annoying question. And why did you leave the blockchain? I don't know if it's the industry, if it's the job market.
Yeah, I am in no way, what's the word? I'm not confident about the future of the tech world at all. Whether it's
What do you mean you're not confident about the future of the tech world?
whether it's in blockchain, whether it's in AI, whether it's in gaming, whatever it is. If you're a tech worker, I think you take a bigger risk seeking employment than starting your own business in this climate.
It's a pretty bold thing to say to me, huh? Considering the risks of starting a
No,
business.
I'm serious. I'm serious. Like, guys, like AI.
But you were already in there, so you didn't have to take any risks. You already had
No.
some security, or did you not?
Of course, and made, God bless, made great money on it, but man, you're looking at like this climate that we're in right now. We have AI that's getting smarter, like marginally smarter every day. Okay. This AI is already taking over the junior level jobs. So people are graduating from computer science between 2023 and 2025. They're having a shit time right now because they're not finding jobs anywhere. Why would I, as a entrepreneur or CEO, hire some schmuck coming out of university for like 60K when I can do his work and do 10 times his work for like less than 2K a year, right? Makes no, like financially makes no sense.
Yeah.
But this it's not only for entry level jobs, slowly driving itself to the middle level jobs. And eventually it's gonna, people get controversial about this, but eventually it might get to the C level, the chiefs, like, so the chief of staff, the chief executive officer, this chief technological officer, where companies in the future, especially tech companies, I'm talking specifically about tech companies, they just basically become AI agents that run the show, and you have maybe 1 or 5 humans, board of directors or whatever, that kind of say what to do, when to do it, and strategize. And then everything else is handled by these AI agents. I really believe that's going to come. Those days are going to come, and it's going to be frequent that companies do this in the next 5 to 10 years. Easy.
Okay.
So for me to keep a job right now in this climate and to say, let me take my time finding a job and the next couple of years, make good money and whatever, I don't think that's a future that is stable for my future family. It really isn't. Because what happens if I get kicked? Sure, I have amazing money in savings, but how long am I going to survive before actually having to start my own thing? Right? So right now when I can, it's better, it's less of a risk for me right now, given these future predictions. We can die tomorrow, obviously, but given these future predictions, it makes more sense for me to establish a brand, establish my own business, establish clients, and having a line of revenue that's predictable and that I can control, that I can dictate based on how much I output in terms of work, dictate how much money comes in, versus just finding a job.
That's fair. That's fine. Just asking tough questions. So what are you doing now then, in terms of building your business? You're working on some things, and if you want to share that, you're welcome to.
Simulations. So a lot of people kind of are bearish about VR, which is awesome for creators like me. VR is not going to be massively adopted. VR sucks. VR, who plays VR and whatever? It's like, yeah, makes sense. There's a certain, there's maybe in the gaming industry, there's like 5 million MAU, monthly active users, and doesn't look like it's going to get adopted widely anytime soon. Everyone is into like blockchain and AI these days, so let the hype people stay there, but the simulation industry, the B2B simulation industry, is very interesting. It's currently a $5 or $6 billion market right now, projected to grow to 30 billion by 2030. And it's like how do I describe this? It is a matrix of opportunities, because it's not this thing in tech where I have this idea means so much to me, you can't copy my idea. And if somebody copies my idea, like I shrivel away. No, it's literally, you're simulating reality, right? So when you simulate reality, you have so many options to choose from. And most options, if not all the options, as long as you're choosing in a smart way, you can make money out of. You can simulate big oil scenarios. So like if big oil meaning like these big oil companies.
Yep.
If they're simulating new tankers or their new oil rigs, and these oil rigs have different mechanics, before you even spend a dime on an R&D and on training people, you can create these simulations for these new workers to repeatedly do the same task over and over again without spending a single dime, right? I kind of mentioned that like 10 times already. To create repeatable outcomes that are predictable for the future, so that next time this oil rig worker has some sort of disaster or incident on the tanker or the oil rig, they know exactly what to do in that scenario because they've been trained hundreds and hundreds of times. Same thing for military, same thing for the simulation industry, the medical industry, right? And the medical industry is definitely an interesting one. It's mostly like surgery takes most of the revenue.
Yeah.
I don't know what other, I believe there's like nurse simulations for injecting and like IV stuff and whatever. I don't know how deep it goes, but I know that surgery like has a lot of the revenue. And it's very interesting. You can simulate cataract surgeries, which is the fourth most performed surgery in the world. You can simulate heart surgeries, brain surgeries, really any sort of surgery you can simulate, and you can simulate from the actual visual, so what you see, to the haptic feedback that you get from like inserting the scalpel or any sort of item. You get like, there's some robust shit out there, man. Like you can get that force feedback from the actual scalpel, right? So I am kind of going for a blue ocean, so to speak, from a market sense. I kind of, thanks to ChatGPT, my best friend, I found a gap in the market where, to explain a little bit, like after you finish your medical degree and you're a doctor, and before you become a surgeon, there's something called a residency, where you get incubated, you get trained as a surgeon, as a would-be surgeon. And they have a residency for cardiology, for ophthalmology, for the eye, for any sort of surgery class you can think of. I don't know what the word is.
Yeah.
So the gap is that there is a percentage of attrition. There is a percentage of churn, right? And basically the idea is like, you can be a student with great grades. You can have a great sort of experience as a doctor, but in the end, what keeps you and what makes you a great surgeon is not only just the grades and what you know, but it's mostly like your dexterity. Like how much dexterity do you have? How do you react under pressure? How do you treat these real scenarios before you even get to the real scenarios, right? And residency directors need to quantify that data. And there is a big churn rate in the US. These are just examples in the US where a student that is attritioning and that is falling behind, even though they have great grades, their dexterity is lacking, right? They waste $144,000 per year in residency costs and $43,000 a year in operating room costs, year by year. So you culminate all of that, you take different residencies, that's close to millions of dollars. I mean, if not tens of millions or whatever, right? Which is it's a big chunk, right? And so to quantify that data, I thought, what if people can play these games where it trains without them knowing, obviously, it trains their hand dexterity, gives them a score, makes it fun, and then therefore they can use these scores to kind of apply to these residencies along with their grades. Like, it's not going to substitute like studying and research and all of that, but it sort of gives an idea of what their hand dexterity looks like. So yeah, I'm working on this stuff. I computed last week actually hand tremor detection. So like how much between 0 to 100 your tremor score. And there's a lot to learn about this stuff. Like there's two kinds of tremors, eh? There's like the rotational tremor, right? And there's the translational tremor. And sometimes there's a mixture of both, depending on how intense the tremor is. In clinical aspects, for surgeons, there's a, what's the word? There's a standard for how much tremor is tolerated, and it's 4 millimeters of like change is the highest. Meaning if you go beyond 4 millimeters, there's a big chance you may not make it as a surgeon, as long as you can train it well, obviously. And the minimum is 0.2 millimeters, right? So you mix hand tremor detection with path accuracy. I don't know if you ever played these games, the wire loop games, where
I know.
you know these little things where like if you touch the little metal, it like kind of rings and stuff. So how accurate are you with the path, and how smooth is your movement, right? So if I'm jerking around, even if I have if I don't have a crazy tremor, like it's not constantly shaking, like how much smoothness can I keep while moving my hand? Anyways, there's a lot to get into this. I've been nerding out about this topic for the last the last month or so. But essentially, you're just quantifying to these residency directors using these fun games, how well do these students perform, and kind of helps them in their residency selection process.
Right. Okay, interesting. You don't think that could go to other fields outside of the medical field? If it's so powerful, because if it's powerful enough to train surgeries, which is extremely delicate, couldn't it easily go to other things, like sports?
It can. Just to correct you, it's not surgical training. It's mostly dexterity quantifying, because
Are you saying it doesn't exist for surgery training? Because I thought that's what you said before.
You talk about simulations in general.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sports. I don't know if something is available for sports. I think they're trying to do something with MMA actually, where
Very interesting.
people can coach other people around the world from their rooms. I don't know how delicate that is. I know it's in big military spending. I know it's in big oil. I don't hear much about sports though.
Why would it be in big oil?
Big oil.
You said big oil.
Yeah. The quantify, basically, not quantify, to train new workers in different incident scenarios. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Because then it's like, couldn't there be markets that are not being explored that you can develop on? I don't know.
There's tons. It's a matrix of opportunities, man. Like, if there's not something if there's not something that's available and there's a gap, you can fill it. And the coolest part is the tech is super new, man. Like the tech is like 5 years old. VR, modern day VR, which is the mobile Oculus Quest, and you don't need to connect to a computer. You can just put it on and just move your shit around. It's low cost to produce, and it quantifies great amount of data. Just to explain to the beautiful audience. This is the y-axis, this is the z-axis, and this is the x-axis. And it quantifies how much your hand is moving to the millimeter, right? So you can get really delicate and intricate kind of scenarios, or you can create something more repeatable, a little bit more grandeur, which is like in this scenario, and from the previous example I was stating, like the oil rigs, right? And like repeating different examples of the oil rigs, or in military training, you can train, like your hand-to-eye coordination and your aiming abilities, and there's a lot to explore in this industry.
True. Okay. Exciting.
Oh,
Yeah.
money. Hey.
Yeah. Good money. Gotta find new markets, right? Interesting. Wanted to touch also on your creative outlets. You do some DJing, you do some poetry. What's that about? Where does that come from?
I press buttons and music happens. Man, it's a funny thing, man. I always relate this back to God. But with DJing specifically, all I did was offer one friend, Christina, you know Christina, offered one friend to play for a party. And ever since then, God has been like opening these crazy doors out of nowhere. But
But was it something you actually enjoyed doing, or you did and then like you're like, oh, this could be good? Like, what is the point? What does it satisfy?
nah, man, like I always thought about I DJ'd before, like DJing for friends and stuff, like on my own time.
Yeah.
It was mostly visualization. Like I always visualized myself playing music and people enjoying the music. Forgetting everything that comes with it, the glam, the DJ, Memo, and all this stuff. For me, I love watching people enjoy themselves when I play music. That's how I always visualize. And Christina was throwing this New Year's event. And I was like, hey, I can play. You know, I couldn't play, but I told her I could play. And she's like, yeah, that's cool, awesome, amazing, da-da-da-da. She ended up wanting me to mix disco, which disco is like the toughest thing to mix in DJing. It's so tough. And I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll do it. I absolutely bombed it. Like, it was horrible. It was very awkward. It was fun, don't get me wrong, but it was very awkward. People were like, what's going on here, you know? But for some reason, even though I bombed, people, I don't know what it was, people kept asking me to come back and play. So since then I played in parties, I played in birthdays, I played at weddings. I got recently invited to play at a wedding in Tuscany, in Italy.
Okay.
Did I tell you this before? No, there's a wedding I'm playing in June actually. And because of a wedding I played last year, also in June, this June, they kind of contacted me recently, like, hey, we loved your vibe, we loved the music you were playing, like, do you want to play in Tuscany?
Yeah.
You know, accommodation provided, flights provided, and payment provided. I'm like, yeah, why not, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say no to going to Tuscany. Maybe drive a Ferrari or two, you know, like rent out a nice Ferrari. But it's something I truly enjoy. Mostly when I'm not mixing top 40 music. Like, everyone always wants top 40, and I freaking hate it, bro. I enjoy mostly like mixing house. House is awesome. Yeah, I don't like robbing the vibe with top 40. I feel like with house it's nice because people can be chatting, or people can be dancing, or people can be chilling and whatever. And the music isn't supposed to like everybody come and dance, you know? It's just like in the background. People want to dance to it, they can dance to it. People don't want to dance to it, they can just hang out.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that kind of music, so to speak. But yeah, I also do poetry. I've been writing poetry for a very long time, actually. Yeah, it's just one of those things that like, it's almost like second nature, so to speak. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I don't think you can grade poetry. It's almost like you can't quantify poetry at all. Like, I heard people doing spoken word. I've read lots of poems, and till this day, I don't know what makes poems good, man. Like, people can get on stage and just go like, "Ah, rah, 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 rah." And for me, it's like, man, if this guy's expressing himself the way he wants to express himself, to me, that's a poem.
Okay.
Some people don't need to rhyme it, and that's also a poem. Maybe more poetic than a poem, but to me it's like, yeah, like this guy is expressing deep parts about themselves, or this girl or whoever. And yeah, it's just one of those things. I don't know, man. It's one of those beautiful gifts from God that you can't really put your finger on why it's good. You can get some variables out of it. Like maybe it's more authentic, maybe it doesn't lie to people, maybe it's has a lot of integrity, I guess. But then in the end, like, nobody knows why some of them slap, but some of them slap, right?
Sure.
But yeah, it's always been a fun part about me that I enjoyed a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to
I have to
speak it?
read some of your poems to know.
Is that what you? Oh, okay, gotcha.
No. I'm just saying as a joke. Like I have to read some poems to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, time's running out, and also running out of space.
Oh
on my
shit.
phone. But yeah,
11.
yeah, it's real late. So let's go through the final questions and let's wrap this up.
Finales.
Indeed. So I had a couple. I was curious about. You kind of touched on this, but it was like, what advice would you give to younger people who are getting into computer science and like coding, web development, and things like that?
Start your own business, man. Fuck university. You're not gonna learn shit. And yeah, just do as many personal projects as you can do, and put yourself out there as soon as possible. I'm not trying to like scare people off. I don't want to scare any of y'all off, but like this market, man, I don't know. It's an unpredictable market. So yeah, I would say start your own businesses.
Okay, fair. And here's one. What thing would you do right now to improve the results that you want to get, for example, in your business and your things? What's something you think you could do better at?
It's funny because I kind of talked about me doing this before, but I can still improve on it. It's
Always
the getting, huh?
You always can.
Yeah. It's the getting to the conversation before having a final product kind of deal. Like to start the conversation as soon as possible. Because, for example, with the tremor detection thing that I was talking to you about earlier,
Right.
I was trying to perfect it for like a whole week when I could have saved more time and just worked on the user interface or different algorithms to predict different things like the hand smoothness. But I wanted to perfect it, right? And could have spent more time chasing leads instead of like chasing algorithms, I guess. But yeah, like really like put more of the entrepreneur hat on versus the keeping the CTO or the technological hat.
Okay, fair. I think so now is the question from the previous guest to you. That's what we always do.
Oh.
Actually might be a good question for you, I think.
Oh.
Which is, if failure is not an option, how big would you dream and what would your dream be?
Oh shit, man. That's a deep one. If failure was not an option, how big would I dream and what would my dream be?
Yeah.
I feel that failure is, I feel like that's I don't want to call it a bad question, man.
That's an insult to I think that's a great question.
Because I feel like failure is an integral part of the process of dreaming. Without failure, how can you, I don't know. I don't know if I like that question, but okay, I'm going to put myself in the mindset of this previous person.
No, it's to answer for yourself. It's a question to you, not to me, not to the audience.
I don't like the question.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I don't like this question.
Okay, so then what would be the question that you leave for the next guest?
What's your dream car?
Okay.
Would my question be, yeah. No offense, by the way, to the previous person.
What's your dream car? Is that it?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
So we got our episode wrapped up. All right, well, thank you for coming on. I hope whoever tunes in enjoys that conversation a lot.
Cheers. Thank you, Jason.
See you guys.